Greetings, I am Frank McDowell, Instructional Officer for Secondary Science, and welcome back to the final of 5 video series for the executive report. Um, in this video, I'm going to show you a bit of the functionality or how this executive report can be used with your campus, if you're an administrator, with your teachers, with Sky Coaches, with your teachers, and just or even teachers within a class period. So I want to kind of show we've shown you some of the bells and whistles. We built the whole thing, but let's see how we could use this thing as we go. So first thing I want to do, and this is just me, I'm gonna name this area. I'm gonna call this the growth section um, right here. I'm gonna give it a different color. I like green, so I'm gonna continue to stick with green. So here we have our executive report, and they're in order by students. So students 0, 1 through 8. These are all 8th grade students. These are actual 8th grade students in our district. These are actual teachers, but I've changed the names and the numbers to protect the innocence, in a sense. So let's take a look at how we could do. So first thing I would want to do, if I'm very concerned about my subpopulations, I can sort these by color. So if I want to look at my SPED population, and these students are all my SPED population here in the color coding, I can sort by color. So I went here, I clicked on the drop down, and I can sort by whatever color I want. So I have sorted here, and I can start to look at how many of these SPED students have grown throughout the course of the school year. So as I go through and I start to see 21 percentage points growing, anything in green is a positive, really, that we've shown some growth, but in reality, we want to look for something along the lines of 20 percentage points. And keep in mind, this is just as one piece of information. This is not the end all be all of data, and this is not the answer. There's the answer to all campus issues is not in this report. So this could just be one tool, one piece of data that could be used to help determine what actions are going to be taken per student, per grade level, per content area, things along those levels. So if here we are, we're filtering for the SPED students. We're looking at our SPED kids. This is one way to do it. We can see the growth, ideally roughly around 20 percentage points of growth. This student here jumps out. You have a student that got a 7 on the fall benchmark and got a 95 on the spring benchmark. So there's 88 percentage points worth of growth, which is amazing. And the student is both SPED and LEP. So automatically, I'm starting to think, what happened here? What's going on? What's going on in teacher B's class that there's a student making this amount of growth there? As we go on forward, I can see this student went backwards. This is another student that is both double coded SPED and LEP, but they got a 55 on the fall benchmark and a 40 on the spring benchmark. So this would raise concerns. I want to start to ask questions. What's going on? Where are we at with this student? So this is one way. If I want to look by my, I could look at my LEP population or my, these are my double coded. You can see that. I just put them in order I sorted by blue. If I want to look at my other LEP population, I can sort by blue here. So this is my LEP population. You can see now I have my double codeds and then my single codeds. This is a good way to look at it. So I can see where these kids are at, which teacher has them, what period they have them. So that is one way to look at the information. The way that I like to look at it is by sorting, and I like to sort the spring benchmark, and I will sort it from largest percentage score to lowest, so starting here with the 98. But because I've organized the spring benchmark, I can see where they started in the fall benchmark. So now I'm starting to look at it by from color to color. So in this case, the idea is, what color did they start and what color are they right now? So we have kids that go from orange to orange, and this is a great example here, student 82. The kid started out high to begin with. Kid obviously came in with some knowledge on science, but they went from an 83 to a 98. So there's 15 percentage points growth. If you have a kid going from orange to orange and they're still growing 15%, something is going right in that class. That string is being pulled, definitely. So this kid has grown. Bonus, so here we have a situation where a kid went from a green to orange now. So this kid has changed colors. Started with an 81 and has grown 14 percentage points to a 95. We want that change of color. Here we have a student that has gone from yellow to orange, and we have that 67 to the 90, and we have a growth of 23 percentage points. And here's the ultimate one. Whenever you get a kid going from red to orange, we have a tremendous amount of growth going on. So student 30 here grew by 47 percentage points, and student 144 grew by 88 percentage points. And I think we've talked about that student in other videos. That will allow us to kind of look and see what teachers are these students in? Whose class are they in? Teacher B got this kid to grow 47%. This kid grew 88% in Teacher B's class. This kid grew 45 percentage points in Teacher B's class. So now I'm thinking, okay, what is Teacher B doing? I want to get in there and I want to make sure I can see and see if we can pinpoint what Teacher B is doing. We'll have Teacher B and Teacher A have that conversation, and now we can start talking about getting the sharing the tips and the tricks of the trade with your partners to get every kid to start to grow in that manner. So this is it opens up a conversation in a PLC or in grade level meetings, situations like that where you can start to see, okay, who is excelling? Where are these kids growing? Are they growing in all contents? Here's another one. And now we have Teacher A. So Teacher A has got a kid going from red to orange. So now what was great about this, and this is part of it, as you start to scroll down, well, let's not be so concerned with the orange kids. That is part of the concern. But we have kids that have met, they've gone from red to green and green to green, okay. This kid right here would jump out at me. So this kid is showing negative 17% growth. In this case, we want to figure out, okay, what happened? This kid walked in and when in October got a 93 on the test, but is now in February got a 76 on the test. So we want to figure out what happened, what was missing, what was lacking at that point. So in this view, we can also see as we scroll down, and this is important as well, everything that's red to red. So when we see the red to red, sometimes if we just see the red, we don't realize that the students have shown growth. We just see 3 no's compared to 3 no's, which is, it can be disheartening for a teacher, for the student, but in certain situations where we have a student, for example, student 96 here. This kid went from 3 no's in red color to 3 no's in red color. But in that time span, this student has grown 24 percentage points. So there is growth. There is something that is happening in that class. So this is beneficial for the student to see, and that way the student knows the work that I've been putting in has not been for nothing. This is great for the teacher to see because the teacher realizes, look, something is happening. I have made an impact on this student, and they are growing. So that I like the report in that sense that it gives us that idea for the kids that are growing as well. As I start to scroll down a little bit more, maybe we spot some students that went the opposite in color. So this one went from yellow to red. And there's questions that we need to ask. What's happening? How come the student is regressing? Do we ask the question, well, what happened? We asked the teacher. And the teacher said, could give us whatever reasons. Internet was in and out. Things have been real tough for this student at home. I've reached out. I've made myself available. Those kinds of things. And that way, it maybe it's not a science thing. Maybe it's not a content thing. Maybe this is an SEL situation for these kids, and now we're aware of it. Now it's right in front of us, and we have the data to be able to ask those questions. So this is another way to look at it. If we want to go up to the value of the growth, if we want to sort the growth from largest to smallest, we can look at it by kids and we can start to identify. Look at these kids. These kids, 88 percentage points. Look at the big chunk. These kids have grown over 30 percentage points, and we want to make sure that they understand that we want them to know this is what you've done. This is where what the work has paid off for. Again, here we have kids over 20 percentage points of growth. These are great things, and we want to make sure that both the student and the teacher are aware of this. As we start to go down and we start to see smaller and smaller growth, we can start to ask those questions. Maybe in this situation here, 7 percentage points is not a whole lot, but they went from green to orange. We have kids that they moved up enough. So these kids came in with prior knowledge, and they've taken it up a little bit more. These numbers can set goals, help these kids to set goals for themselves. They've seen their growth and what they've done. Now, as we start to get down here, we have some red to red with 5 percentage points growth. Maybe we start to ask ourselves, okay, what have we done? What could we do? What has worked for this student? What hasn't worked for this student? Is there anything else that we can try with the students? So those are the questions that we can start to ask as we go through the process. Here we have zero growth. We have kids that have not shown any growth. And in this case, okay, the kid went from a 93 to a 93. 88 to 88, okay, but is there something that we could do to enhance this kid's learning? Can we pull the string just a little bit more? And then once these questions start to be asked, we start to figure out things, and now we start to look at the regression. What is happening with this group of students that their numbers are going backwards? What is happening? Who are they? What are they LEP? Are they SPED? What's going on? But the questions can be asked, and we can start to address it. As we move on to the number two approaches, we can put them in order from, we want to put these in order from smallest to largest. And we can start to see chunks of kids that are ready to make that jump. So this student 25 went from 29 percentage points to 50 percentage points. So they had a growth of 21 percentage points, but they're one question away. And when you show this to a kid, you say, okay, do you think you could be one question better by May? Well, one's good, but do you think you could be 5 questions better by May? And it puts a little more gas in the tank for that student. Also, now we have groupings of kids. We know that this group of kids, this group of 10, 15 kids here, are ready to make that next level. So maybe this now helps me to build some sort of intervention group. Will these kids come in on a Saturday? Will they come in during intersession? This would be the group of kids that I want to attack. Same thing for this. These kids have already approached. These guys they've already gotten past that point. They've passed the test, but they're 5 questions away. Could I make this another group of kids? And we say, okay, let's get these kids pushed forward. Where can we continue to push along so that they're making the jump? If the kids know that they're 1 question away, you don't think a kid is gonna put a little bit more effort into what they're doing? Because I'll say this, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. If the kids know the score, the chances of them wanting to play are a little bit better. So here is our score. You are 1 question away from leveling up. And I like the term level up because I think it speaks to the kids. The kids know what leveling up means. So I get a little excited about this stuff. And here's another group of kids. These kids have all met. All the kids that have met on this campus are 5 questions away from mastering. 5 questions away. All the kids that have met are 5 questions away from mastering. So when we do this again for STAR, potentially we could look at this many kids having mastered that test. Couple more things. You can filter by teacher. This is nice. As a Sky coach, you could pull all your teachers in one shot and you can look at their students. But if I just want to look at one particular teacher, I can see the teacher here. I can show the teacher their data. They can have it there. But sometimes even this is still too overwhelming. I got 150 kids. And I'm looking at this data, and it can be a little overwhelming. But if I do this, now let me filter by your period, your class period. So this is your first period class. This is what we're looking at. So you have one kid that met, you have 4 kids that are approaching, and then you have 4 kids that did not approach. But when we look at it here, we can see these 2 kids are on the brink of going from did not approach to approaches. These 3 kids are on the brink of going from approaches to meets, and the meet student is 2 questions away. Now, for one period, this will change my instruction a little bit. I can see that in this class, I have 3 SPED students. I got 3 LEP students and 1 SPED student. So I can start to plan the lessons, and I can configure the lessons or build the lessons to meet these students' needs during this particular class period. Let me look at another period. Let's go to 7B. So I got a bigger class. Obviously, I got a bigger class. I can see that I have this many kids that have mastered it already. I have kids that have met, but they're all within 5 questions of jumping up to the next level. 2 kids here in approaches that are ready to go to meets. And then I have these 3 kids that are ready to go from did not approach to approaches. But I have these chunk of kids that have gone backwards. What's going on with my instruction? How is this different? It's 7th period. Is it towards the end of the day? I have a lot of LEP students in this class. Am I using my PSYOP strategies? Can I get somebody in? Do I have a co-teach in here? What's going on? And these are the questions that, as an administrator or Sky Coach, you can start to ask the teachers, and you can start to pinpoint things. As an administrator, maybe you go through this and you use this report to say, what class do I want to do a walkthrough in? Do I want to pop into this class and say, okay, let's see what's going on here? Or do I pop into this class? Do I need to pop into this class? Look at this class. This is the 8th period class. This is the last class of the day. You have under 10 kids, and you have a majority of them that are mastering. They are ready to go, and then you have 3 more kids that are ready to level up. You could have potentially a whole class period that is at the mastery level. So these are benefits as you go along, and if you're going through with this with a teacher, you could potentially put in extra columns, may RTI, intervention here, or maybe intercession. You can start to figure out what is being done for kids that need those interventions, tutoring, things of that nature. So that way everybody is aware of what's going on and how these students are being addressed as far as their needs. So you could go through and let's pick a better crop of kids. We could say, let's go back to that. This is the after lunch, I'm guessing. So we could say here, look at the growth here, 10%, 7%. Okay, we're working somewhere. But for this kid, we've got them marked for RTI. They're coming in for intercession tutoring, and they're coming in for tutoring after school. These groups of kids right here, I'm gonna have a master's course. So they're gonna come in for intercession on one of the days. And you know what? These kids aren't too far away, but we may bring them. I may have tutoring after school for this group of kids. Now, finally, take this report. If a teacher is able to mesh it with the grouping mats, now this report will tell you who. The grouping mats will tell you who and what that you need to cover. So in both cases, you're developing groups of kids. In this case, you're having potentially groups that are on the brink of leveling up. You want to make sure that you're addressing all those kids. And then in the grouping mats, you have kids grouped by specific SCs and what they need. So between the two, you could develop a pretty decent plan for intervention prior to taking the test. So I hope you enjoyed the 5-video series. If you have any questions, you know where to find the IOs. If you want more in-depth stuff, get your SDRs, send them out, and we can go and sit down with you and figure out how we can help executive report goes. Again, my name's Frank McDonald, Instructional Officer, Secondary Science. Thank you for watching this series. Bye.